Oh, you hold it. Hold it.
I might grab
Yeah,
my
we
coat
can
and
ask
my
him to
lap.
turn it up a little bit.
It's just for the
You have it.
doors.
I left mine in the other room. But I'm not cold, so. My poor wife's had ice on her knee for 4 weeks now, and she's freezing all the time. Her knee replaced.
Playing tennis with the best of them. My father-in-law had both of his knees replaced. Yeah, his tennis game, it's amazing. On court.
Okay, ready. I hereby call this meeting to order and would like to thank our presenters and everyone that's joining us. We're grateful to have such a good crowd here, also those that are by live stream. Thanks for being here. We will start with a Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Bryce Johnson. So Bryce, if you'd come right on up here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, all of our board members are present, including Angie Oliver, who's with us by phone. There are a few addendums, items with supporting information on the following topics: media and community relation report, and the supplemental levy information. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the agenda with the addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That motion passed. Next on the agenda is approve the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the following minutes. The regular board meeting of November 15th. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 15th.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passed. Next on the agenda is approve the consent agenda, which includes authorizing the payment of claims, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the human resource activities as presented. Is there a motion?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the agenda are the explanatory reports, which include board committee meetings, minutes, Idaho General Fund Revenue Report, the Food Service Free and Reduced Meal Eligibility Report, the Food Service Outstanding Account Balance Report, the Student Enrollment Report, and the Student Suspension Report. There's no action on that, is there? Just the information only. Next on the agenda is recognitions, which will be presented by Courtney Fisher. Maybe. She'll be right with us.
Grabbing a couple more chairs
Yeah,
for
good.
our guests here tonight. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Howell, Ms. Johnson, and student representatives with us tonight. So tonight we will recognize several individuals who, together through their actions, support and embody our district's mission to think more, learn more, and be more together. Need to catch my breath. So first up, we have our cake awards. Our district believes a safe, supportive, caring, and respectful environment is critical to student learning. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month Award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from October through May. The Cake Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others, And in addition to being recognized here at the monthly board members, the recipients also receive a baking kit to make cupcakes at home with their families and special treats delivered to their classrooms to be enjoyed with and among their peers. Nominations for the cake award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the nominee's behavior and are approved by the school's principal. So first up, we have our December cake award for our elementary learner of the month. So please help me welcome Cade Holverson and his teacher, Miss Katie Brunger, to the podium. You can turn just to the side of the podium so our board can see you, okay? Welcome, and thank you so much, both of you, for being here tonight. So Cade is in the 5th grade at Tyhee Elementary School, and he was nominated by his teacher, Mrs. Katie Brunger. And in her nomination letter, Miss Brunger wrote, "Cade is a wonderful and caring student. He has been a great example of kindness for everyone at our school. He is not only kind to his classmates and teachers, but every student at our school. Cade shares lunch recess with younger students. Our para, Miss Christie, told me that he can be found checking on the little kids and making sure they have someone to play with and they know where they are going every day. He is so thoughtful and protective of the younger students. They get so excited when they see him coming. He's like a big brother to many of our young students. He is always willing to help me in my classroom. He sometimes stays after school and he will help me unpack scholastic book boxes or put away activities that we used earlier in the day. Cade is very thoughtful and helpful, and he cares for others and shows it in many ways. That is why I'm nominating Cade for the Cake Award." So Cade, thank you for being such a wonderful example to other students, and you will receive this certificate, and you're also going to get a cupcake kit. So that's outside I believe Shauna told you how to find that. And you will also receive a gift card from our partner in this award, McDonald's. And then your school library will get a $50 donation in your name, and you'll get to help your media clerk select those books and put your name in them. So when other kids check them out, they will see that month's Cake Award winner. So if you will let our board congratulate you, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. And thank you for being such a wonderful example. So if you'll come and just kind of go through the line.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Kate. Thanks for being so helpful. Katie, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have our December Cake Award for our secondary learner of the month. So please help me welcome Jacob Martinez to the podium with Miss Christy Taylor and Miss Jennifer Park. How are you? Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Jacob is a senior at New Horizon High School, and he was co-nominated by Miss Taylor and Miss Park. And in their nomination letter, Miss Taylor and Miss Park wrote, "When thinking of a student for the Cake Award, Jacob immediately came to mind. Jacob is a diligent learner who is always on task in class. He completes work to a very high standard, and it is clear he takes pride in his work. He is always respectful to teachers and staff as well as his peers. Quite often, Jacob will be the voice of reason when explaining something to classmates or encouraging them to get their work finished. Whenever we take Jacob on a field trip or invite guest speakers into the classroom, he is ready with respectful comments and questions, which reflect what a great listener he is. Jacob is a wonderful learner and an individual that is self-motivated, kind, and helpful. He deserves recognition for showing up every day and making New Horizon High School a better place." So thank you so much for your example. I'll give you this certificate. We also have a cupcake kit for you as well. And then you'll also receive a gift card from McDonald's as well as you guys. And your school library will receive a $50 donation in your name. So thank you so much. And if you'll say hello to our board members and let them congratulate you. Thank you.
Congratulations, keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you.
And I know there are others that came to support Jacob, so thank you for being here tonight. Next up, we have our December Employee of the Month, or PIES Award.
Yeah.
The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. The award is for employees who go above and beyond in that effort. Lookout Credit Union partners with us in providing this award. Tonight, we are recognizing Miss Julie Hunsaker. Are you here with us tonight, Julie? And Miss Hunsaker is a behavior tech at Gannett City Elementary School, and she was nominated by Miss Leslie Rao. Is Leslie here also? If you want to join us up here. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Did you not know why you were here? I do. Oh. That's awesome. So in her nomination letter, Ms. Rowe wrote, Julie is our school's behavior tech and works with learners in grades K through 5. I work with her often as some of my students see her daily. She's able to talk problems through at the learner's level and make sure all voices are heard. She is sure to get to the bottom of an issue no matter how long it takes. She is very kind and warm, yet firm when needed. She has taken on our school's new behavior system to help make it a success by following through with every detail. She calls parents when needed and meets with teachers often to keep them in the loop of what is happening with our learners. When she doubts herself, she is not afraid to ask questions and take advice. She works so hard, always on the go, to put out fires throughout the day. The best thing about Julie is that she does it all with a smile and a positive attitude. She works well with the staff and is so fun to be around. She makes our school a special place for learners and staff to succeed. So thank you so much for being a positive influence on education. You get this certificate, and then also this $50 gift card courtesy of Lookout Credit Union, and you get $20 for the nomination. So thank you so much for your contributions to our school and our district, and if you will also stay here and let our board.
Congratulations. Enjoyed that.
Thank you so much. We have just one more recognition. At this time, I would like any representatives in attendance tonight from the state champion drama teams from Century and High School to please stand and just remain where you're at, and then I'll ask your coaches to join me at the podium. So Mr. Ted Bondman or Sean Ruth, and Alex Van Noy from Highland. So Miss Ruth and Mr. Bondman are the drama coaches at Century, and Mr. Van Noy is the drama coach at Highland.
Mrs. Bishop, can we
yes.
go ahead and have them come up?
Oh, yeah, come
So
up.
They can all be recognized.
Yeah,
from home,
absolutely. Oh,
on the
yes.
live stream.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
That'd be great, even if they kind of just built their.
If you guys just want to kind of flow around the podium, that would be awesome.
Why don't- Just have them stand right here in front of us.
Yeah,
Guys, just, and look that way.
take center stage.
We,
Yeah, right?
we always love it when we have a full house and it's standing room only in the boardroom. So thank you so much for joining us. So these are your state 5A and 4A drama champions from Century High School and Highland High School. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I'm just going to quickly have you introduce yourselves to us, because I'm not sure who's here on this long list. And if you were a finalist or a semi-finalist, go ahead and tell us that as well. So we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Parker Carlson, and I made it to the state. That's how far away.
That's awesome.
Hi, I'm Kiara Park, and I also made it to state. Hi, I'm Casey Kennedy, and I got second place in original humor. Hi, I'm Bryce Johnson. I placed first in the makeup district at state.
I'm Glenn Belliston. I went there.
That's awesome.
I'm Harper Bennett. I was a semifinalist in state.
I'm Willie Cook. I was a semifinalist and took third place at state.
I'm William Levitt, and I took second place in original series and second place in original humorous.
I'm Sasha Lucar, and I was a semifinalist and placed third in ensemble musical theater. I'm Ivani Chaudhry, and I took third in ensemble musical theater and third in topics.
My name is Kai Gerber, and I was a semifinalist in solo musical theater, and I took third place in ensemble musical theater.
Wonderful. That's just amazing. Thank you so much. So this accomplishment for both of these teams represents months of hard work and dedication, and as well as for their coaches. And it also, I think I have on here, that this was the first time in 25 years that Highland took the 5A state drama title, edging out the 8 times in a row champion for 5A. So that's really, really amazing. And then a special shout out to Century also. They were the 4A state champions for the 3rd year in a row. So congratulations. Thank you so much for being here tonight to let us help you celebrate this accomplishment. And if you will just kind of flow through and let our board members congratulate you as well, our superintendent. So yeah, just stay proud. You Diamond Heads will know how to do that, right?
I feel like I should ask for your vote.
Thank you very much. Good work. Thanks for coming tonight.
You were there, good.
Was it good? You were good? Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Nice job.
Thanks so much. Good work, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Hi, Ted. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
High five. That's awesome.
Oh.
But,
Came by Highlands last week and missed you, but
no, yeah, it's pretty nice, huh?
Appreciate it.
Congratulations again. That concludes our recognitions this evening. Thank you.
It was, Stu.
Thank you.
And he's got gray hair, and I was working. Oh, my God.
Okay, next on the agenda is public and written comment on topics not pertinent to the agenda. Now, no written comment was received, and I have no request for public comments. So we'll move on. The next, we'll now move to reports, which will be by our student representatives, and we will start with Pocatello High School. Okay, and Maren Brock.
From 2001 to 2006.
Hi. Go ahead and go to the podium and introduce yourself, will you? That'd be great.
Yeah, you introduce yourself while you're there.
Okay, my name is Ethan Larson. I'm the sophomore class president at Pocatello High School. And the past few months, our students have been very busy. And so, just want me to go over this stuff?
Sure. You
Okay.
can.
This is the first time I've ever been.
No, you're good.
Very good.
Okay, so our students competed in BPA districts, and the following won and qualified for state. First, Evelyn Dance qualified for first place in prepared speech and second place in advanced interview skills. Marin Brock took second place in medical terminology concepts. Abigail Allen took first place in health insurance and medical billing, second place in payroll accounting, and fifth place in medical terminology concepts. Natalie Schoen took second place in fundamental spreadsheet applications and fifth in meeting and event planning concepts. Brooklyn Jorgensen took first place in extemporaneous speech. Hallie Stone took third place in health administration procedures. Brian Crawford took third place in personal finance management. And Finn Merle took third place in prepared speech, first place in information security concepts, and third place in financial math and analysis concepts. We had a few students participate in a chess tournament, and our three winners were Deela Groves, Ethan Samuelson, and Aiden Wilcox. Student government won Outstanding Student Government Award at the state conference this year. This award is given to the student government that submits the best portfolio of all of our events. We were one of 12 schools to receive this award in the entire state. This is similar to winning a state competition for student government. We also brought home the Etiquette Award, which is we are awarded this award for being the most professional school in appearance, actions, focus, attentiveness, engaged, and classy. We were the only school in the state to be awarded this. Both our boys and girls varsity basketball teams are doing well. In addition to playing well, both teams beat Highland last week, which is a big accomplishment for us. Student government, with the funds that we raised from our haunted house, provided 37 families with Thanksgiving dinners and will be providing 52 families with Christmas breakfasts. Student government has also coordinated a giving tree with several organizations in Pocatello and will be providing 149 Pocatello School District students with Christmas gifts. As well, our speech and debate has been racking up tons and tons of different trophies in all of their events.
fantastic.
Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that report. Okay, next we'll hear from Highland. Is it Madeline?
Yeah.
Madeline Anderson.
Good evening. I'm Maddie Anderson. I'm ASB Secretary from Highland High School, and we've been doing pretty well coming to this holiday season. We'd like to again extend our congratulations to the Highland Drama Team for taking first in districts and state. It's an incredible accomplishment, and we're so proud of them. We'd also like to congratulate our Business Professionals of America Club members. Almost the entire club qualified for state this year, and we're incredibly proud of them. That's insane. Highland Student Government has been working hard with Sub for Santa to provide Christmas to more than 15 families in need. It's a crazy donation process, and it takes a lot of hard work, and we're so proud that we're able to help put something back into the community. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Sentry.
So Century's doing great. Our second prize.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. First time. My name is Willard Cook, and I'm obviously from Century. So
Joke for us?
a
Humor
joke.
guy, right?
Yeah, I'm the humor kid. So
Yeah.
guess what? So
Go.
people at Century. No. You already asked. So people at Century. We want
We're not that.
low flying planes, and we want them meow. Get it? Okay, sorry. Okay.
You asked.
So, Century, we're in our second try, and it's well underway. As you know, drama won state for the third time in a row, and we're all super proud of that. It was a lot of hard work. Our winter sports are also well underway. The cheer squad this year placed first in 3 events and was awarded both the Sportsmanship and Inclusivity Award at Shake It Up, at the Shake It Up competition, and our dance team placed 3rd overall over 31 teams, so we're really impressed with that. And last but not least, our annual Holiday Hunger Games competition is well underway, raising money to support 49 of our D-backs this Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Appreciate you. Okay, do we have anybody from New Horizon? We will next month. Okay, well, that concludes your report. You're welcome to stay. We'd love to have you, but if you guys want to be excused, you can. Okay, now, next, Courtney Fisher again will provide a media report and community relations update.
I won't add a joke, but I'll add one thing to William's presentation. We got, Mrs. Brockett shared a note with us from that competition of a parent who's not even from our district who noticed the inclusivity and the efforts of Century High School cheer team and sent her the nicest note. So she said she doesn't often come to work on Monday mornings with really nice notes like this one. So it was really refreshing to have that recognized with an award for that inclusivity award, but also noticed in the audience. So wanted to share that with you. For media report and community relations report, since November's media report, I've included links to articles of interest. They're in the addendum in the media report from November 16th through today, and that report is included in your addendum. Some headlines that I'd like to draw your attention to, several articles about the 2023 legislative priorities upcoming in January, as well as the organization of the House and Senate leadership. Lawmakers considering solutions for school facility problems, K-12 student enrollment upticking slightly, fall reading scores surpassing pre-pandemic numbers, which is good news for Idaho, and then local middle school robotics team winning regionals and advancing to state from Irving Middle School. Our live stream, we've only had one meeting live streamed since we last met, and that was November 15th. We had 87 views of our regular board work session. Social media, we have surpassed 11,000 followers on Facebook, so that's good news. And then our website analytics continue to trend like they have in the past with top 5 academics, home, calendar, daily menus, and staff pages. Some of our recent communications activities have been school closure protocols, reminders for parents to how that decision's being made, what to expect. Even when it snows, lots of people anticipate that we may have a school closure. So in that event, we don't send out infinite campus messaging. We reserve infinite campus messaging only for if we have a school closure. But we will post to Facebook. People are really used to going to Facebook to see if we will be in school that session. So on a particularly snowy day or we want to remind people about driving conditions, then we'll post there, but not infinite campus. So I also this morning posted those reminders to remind parents what to expect in that event. We also have communicated the graduation venue change to the media as well as parents. And then upcoming communications include, we've got holiday closure messaging for the time that the district office and schools will be closed. So that will pop up anytime somebody comes to our website. It will also be posted to social media. And then our levy communications, which I will visit with you later on in the agenda. And that is my report for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, we'll now move on to curriculum and instruction, school safety and athletics, and we will start with Amy Boy, who will report on the following: proposed textbook adoption committee member selection protocol. It's a mouthful.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Howe, Ms. Johnson. Included in the packet tonight is the draft for textbook adoption committee member selection protocol and the proposed timeline. The board will be asked to adopt that protocol this evening under action items. I will go over the protocol, and then Kathy Luris will go over that timeline. So the protocol, you should have that in your items. When textbook adoption committees are formed, the following process will be followed. 1, an Infinite Campus message will be sent to the appropriate parent groups. That's already been done. The principals will send the names and the contact information to the curriculum department. That's already been done. There are 28 of them. The curriculum department will send a Google form detailing the criteria for the participation on the committee, and each parent or patron will fill out that form, and then that information will come back to the board. And once the applications are received, each board member will select 1 committee member and 1 alternate. 2 alternates shall be selected by random draw, and alternates will participate on the committee but are not voting members. So that's kind of the takeaway from our last meeting, and just a really simple, straightforward, this is how the protocol will look. Really important, we would like to tomorrow send those forms out to those 28 parents and patrons who are interested, and then give them a deadline of January 3rd, which would give you all a few days until the 6th to make your selection. And then we'd like to notify them on the 6th, so that we can start, their first meeting is on January 12th.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
And because I was by phone, I may have missed this.
Okay.
But I thought one of the questions was going to be kind of just a statement of why the parent
That's on the form.
Oh, it is?
That's
Okay,
on the
so
form. It's a narrative question on that form, and that form was sent to you also. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the form, but yeah,
Is it the one that was with your letter?
No.
Oh, I
Did
don't,
you send one?
I don't know if I saw
I don't
that.
think.
Oh, I thought it was attached.
I thought we were going to put it on here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was attached in the email. I apologize. I can, do you want me to go through the form? I've got it.
Is it, I mean, if it's not
It's
too
not
long, I mean, I'm
long.
just barely.
Well, it's actually right here.
Okay.
Parents we ask
Right.
their name, if they reside within the school district
Right.
boundaries, if they're attached to a certain school. They have to affirm that they're not public educators. If they are public educators, if they answer yes to that question, it just automatically submits and they're done. They agreed to abide by the norms. They agree to keep an open mind. They agree to attend all meetings. And then we ask them, why do you feel as though
Okay,
you want
that-
to
that's
and
what
why
I
you're
was-
qualified?
I didn't see that
Yeah.
here, and that's what I was
Yeah,
wondering.
I'm glad. That's a good
So
question.
those last 2, just why you want to, why you feel like.
Why they're or why they feel they're,
that they-
That's on the form, and I'll just make sure I get you that sent to you. I apologize. I thought that was sent.
okay. No, that's fine. Like I said, it wasn't here. And so the goal is 10 and then 2 alternates. No,
10
5. Wait,
Fine.
5, sorry. 10 overall in the committee.
Well, but it does say each board member will select one committee member
committee
and one
and an
alternate, so that's 10, but only 5 of them will be,
Okay,
Voting
so you will have 5 alternates? I thought.
That's
so
how this
2
reads.
alternates will be, okay, so 2.
each board member will
will be
select,
selected from that random draw. Okay,
so there really will be 7 alternates.
right,
Does that make sense? Because each board member chooses 1 parent and 1 alternate,
right.
and then 2 extra alternates will be selected by.
Oh, no.
That's how that.
2 out of the 5.
2 out of the 5.
Oh,
is
2
what-
out of the 5 will be, okay, good, I'm glad. That's a good
Yeah.
clarification. Okay, perfect.
Okay,
2 out of the additional.
Yep,
of
perfect.
the 5, okay.
Yes.
I
Very good.
appreciate that clarification.
And if
Yep.
randomly, like, we pick the same person, then it just automatically reverts to our second choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect,
So it's all solved.
perfect. So then Kathy will hit you with the timeline.
So this is also in your packet, and just based on some feedback from your last meeting, we made some adjustments to the timeline, so I just kind of want to highlight those. So on February 9th, we'll have publisher presentations, and depending on the number of publishers we choose to review will be the kind of timeline that they're given. And one of the reasons we chose for our advisory team to attend those publisher presentations, a lot of that meeting is so logistical, like are the online assessments editable? Can I add that to my Google Classroom? Is it a PDF, or just so much logistical information that we didn't feel was really pertinent to the committee. So, but we did think, we want to make that available if they're interested, so we're going to live stream that. The live stream will not be publicly sent out, but just to our committee members, okay? And then the evening presentation for our committee will be really focused. And the focus will be derived from the committee. As a suggestion, we could focus on what are the parental supports available in each program. But I really want the focus of those presentations to come from our committee, so that'll be determined as we go through the process. And then following that meeting, we've added 2 optional times where committee members can come to the district office. We'll have materials laid out. They can come and review them at any time, but this will be really structured where Amy and I will be available to answer questions about the evaluation criteria, if they need help finding something. We obviously won't be able to answer all their questions, but we have direct contact with the publishers and can get those really quickly. So we added those 2 just to provide, that committee with real hands-on opportunities to ask questions as well as review while we're there. And then the last thing that we changed, after the curriculum department the advisory team takes the advisory team's recommendation to the committee, then the committee will choose a spokesperson that will make a recommendation to the board. Does that make sense? So that's just a kind of a tweak there. So those are the changes.
Kathy and I will take the recommendation from the advisory team to the committee, but then a spokesperson will actually present to you at the board on behalf of the committee.
Are you planning on just one coming to that, or?
I would say the committee could choose. I think that would be something the committee could choose if they felt comfortable with, a few people representing, or they wanted everyone there. I think that would be.
Oh, I didn't mean people. I just meant one curriculum or more, or 2, or do you have an idea, like the first and second choice, or 2, like what, do you have an idea?
So.
Of like what you would want?
So I don't have an idea of what the advisory team will recommend. It could be they say, wow, this one's really, we feel like this one would really meet the needs. There has been times, and I'll tell you, it's really hard when the teams say, wow, we're really torn between these 2. So it may be, hey, this is our first choice, this is our second choice. Yeah, I really don't know what that will be, but.
Telling the strengths of the one and weaknesses, strengths of the one and the weaknesses.
I think it would be ideal if the committee could come to consensus by the time they're presenting to you. And obviously, we'll talk about that in those meetings.
Oh, I just mean from the advisory to the other.
Oh,
not
then
to the
Kathy,
board.
then Kathy addressed that. Like, they may say,
Yeah.
here's our first choice, or here's our top 2 choices. And
Yeah,
strengths and weaknesses.
kind of strengths and weaknesses of both.
So when you say open to public, is that going to then go on all of your public media meeting places? So anybody that has,
Yep, those will be posted and opportunities for comments, so we'll work with Renee to.
So one other question that I didn't get a chance to ask at the last one is, how much does budget drive these decisions? I mean, I would imagine various curriculums, wide ranges of costs associated, so.
Good question. Do you want to address it?
So the budgeting process happens in the spring, and K-5 is a pretty expensive one.
Right.
Just because of, it's that comprehensive English language arts, reading, writing, the grammar, all of that is included. So the way we figure it out is we figure out the average cost of the textbook, which would, include all of those resources, and then we do a per pupil allocation, and that's how we come up with a budget.
And so that's how you would then, so if a curriculum falls outside that budget amount, you wouldn't pick that to be evaluated?
So we work to select the program that best meets our needs, and if we come under budget, we'll come back and say, you know what, this is the program that best meets our needs. How can we figure out how to fund that, Doug?
Absolutely, yeah. So, sorry, that seems really loud to me. Unless it's grossly, over budget, then I've not seen it that way. They're always within, I would say, 200,000 to 300,000, give or take. Chuck and Kathleen have been really good about wheeling and dealing and get us some online extras and so forth. So I don't expect that will change. So they'll get us the best buy possible. And then when we look at the other resources, goodness, it escaped me. What? The expendables, consumables.
Consumables.
Yeah, they always work a deal for, years in advance, so we make sure we're not going to be out of print or upcharged or whatever, so they'll do well for us in that regard.
Okay, and we do have quite a bit of flexibility with ESSER funds too, right?
Well, that one, I don't know that would go to curriculum, but we have the way we can make it work. Anytime we bid a job, Jonathan, he's really good about coming really close, and I think we have a pretty good idea of what it's been in the past. We can check with other districts that may have adopted that and get the best deal possible. So again, unless it's significantly over, we would not hesitate to go with the first choice.
Very good, thank you.
That's all we have. That's how we'd like to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate
Thanks for your work on that.
it. Okay, next we have,
I know we took you back to the drawing board a few times, but I appreciate it.
I think it turned out really well, so thank you.
okay, next we have A.J. Watson, who will report on the following: Head Start program report and a proposed 23-24 school district calendar.
Good evening, trustees. I'll start with the Head Start program report and information just by way of update. Number of students enrolled is 116. Number of classrooms that are in session right now, there are 6. Number of children on the wait list, 108. They were or are in the process of trying to hire a new teacher, and that would allow them to open an additional classroom. So I believe this individual just finished student teaching and became available. So they're excited about that opportunity, and hopefully in January, about another 15 to 20. I know, it's really big since they have been unable to hire. As you can tell by the number of open positions, they still have a large number of open positions. So just as far as additional updates, they completed the first cycle of child assessments, and they'll share those results, baseline results, with the board and their policy council in January. And they also completed the 90-day health requirements for their full day and part day children. That completes the Head Start board report. In your packet, you have a draft proposal for the 2023-2024 school district calendar that is up for action and a vote tonight. Most of the calendar information, this came from the district calendar committee for your approval. Most of it is very similar to this year in terms of sometimes the dates align and it works out pretty close in terms of days and the year. And so it's very close and similar to the calendar that was approved for this current school year. Do you have any questions in regards to the calendar committee?
Well, we were just mentioning
Yeah.
how nice it is that the spring breaks with Idaho State align. That's kind of.
And we do try to, that is one thing, we go out and as we look at all the dates, one of the things that is a factor and that we consider is those breaks, especially with ISU and spring break, and trying to align that for those that do have learners that are in the district, and trying to make that convenient for families as well.
So the one question, and I asked you before a board meeting, and I don't know if this happens now or is it supposed to happen in the vote discussion time, but if the committee had considered moving early release to Friday as opposed to Monday.
And no, the board, we did not discuss that as this year as a calendar committee. It wasn't one of the items discussed. So typically, I think as long as we've ever had PLCs, and maybe Doug can verify this, but we've always had them on Mondays. And I would say the biggest driving influence for that is because of the effectiveness of professional development and PLCs being on a Monday for early release. If it were to move to, for example, a Friday, there would be concerns about it, one, being at the end of the week and how effective and impactful would that be, as we all are at the end of the week. Also, activities and events that typically take place would pull teachers, which are coaches, or other staff members on Fridays regularly, so they wouldn't be in the building as often. And we try to avoid, as a district, the last few years, we tried to avoid Fridays for any professional development, because we do not usually, I don't want to say because I don't have the exact statistics, but usually we do not have, that's a heavy day for staff members to be out, whether it's 3-day weekends or because of activities and events. So we avoid those days specifically for providing any professional development, because we usually don't have enough substitutes to cover those days. And so I would say that's the main driving reason as to why we've always had it on Mondays. And there may be some more historical information that I'm not aware of, but from my perspective.
I remember when it first came, they did it on Friday and then switched it to Monday. I remember that because I was a parent.
Did they have it on Fridays
They
to
just
start?
briefly.
I don't remember.
And
I
then
don't
switched it.
recall it being on Friday, but
But it
may
was,
have.
it was announced and then actually.
Then it switched to a
before it
Monday.
Actually went into effect.
Huh.
Is that what happened?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I've always known it as much. I guess,
Yeah.
you know, the reason I'd bring it up is that, you know, I've had some feedback from parents that it just always seems to kind of, you know, the kids have had their weekend, they're back in school on Monday, and it's just a half day. And so, you know, I mean, I know the Pocatello Charter School does Wednesdays as their half day. And then, you know, as we had kind of talked during the COVID period of time where, you know, people, you know, why aren't we going to a 4-day school week, so I guess I'm kind of looking at it from the parent, family perspective, and I understand that the early release is more, it's because of professional development, but I guess I would just wonder if that would be would be open to a consideration.
One benefit I see to that is that it would allow more instructional time for kids, because I know my kids always had wrestling, track, football, choir, all that stuff, and they would leave early on Fridays, but not Mondays. So it would allow more instructional time overall for activities where the kids are leaving early. And I realize the coaches are leaving early too, which would actually maybe, it's not good for them to miss the PLC, but it's not instructional time, so it's a little bit more easy to make up, because they can do that on their own time maybe.
And
AJ really
Dr.
hit
Howell,
it
are
on
you?
the head. The Monday is a non-activity day typically across the district.
Right.
So we don't run into conflicts with other schedules, because we want everyone in those PLCs or PD opportunities participating.
Would Wednesday be a similar? And I guess I'm just looking, because like I said, it can be
Yeah.
kind of a hiccup on.
So Tuesday through Friday, even into Saturday, of course, those are activity days. So they're always going to pull someone away from those opportunities for learning, for professional learning.
Yeah, and Andrew mentioned going to a 4.5-day school week, which would, I guess, kind of be the same thing? Sorry, I'm like,
Yeah.
anyway, it would be.
So Monday is more of I'll say an instructionally protected day, just because activities do not conflict with
And is
Mondays.
that
For the benefit of the teacher.
Correct.
Yeah, which is really what we're
The
trying to do
purpose.
for the benefit of the
Yes.
students.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, so,
It all works together.
yeah, yep.
And it's kind of one of those things too, you maybe mentioned that, you know, is it something they can make up with professional development or professional collaboration? The part of it is being together as teams and being able to dive into the data and look at the information, and also the professional development usually is, you know, provided at the school level or at a team level, and it's not something that would be easily made up or that they would be able to do on their own. Most of that is usually in collaboration in professional learning communities.
Yeah. I guess my kids were just involved in too many things. There were so many Fridays. They were gone.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions in regards to the calendar? Okay.
I mean, for next year, you might
Yes,
just. put it on
definitely.
the
We
agenda
can, we can
and
put that on
say,
the agenda and have a
yeah,
discussion
get
about
the
that and
feedback.
get feedback from everyone as well.
Yeah.
Okay. That concludes
I
my
love the
report.
calendar.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we'll have Tanya Wilkes report on the policy 6104, extended learning opportunities, second reading, out-of-state overnight travel request, and early graduation request.
Okay, good evening, trustees, Dr. Hallam, Ms. Johnson. First off, we're on the second reading of the extended learning opportunities. And then I think we answered a lot of questions on the first reading with Ms. Pettit, so I don't, if you guys have any other concerns or questions?
There was no public input received.
No.
So,
Okay, that was easy. And then out-of-state overnight travel request, this basketball tournament was on their schedule, but with it being out-of-state in the Nevada area, I definitely wanted it to be a part of be aware of what's going on and have them turn in an agenda, so they did that for me. So they're going, they've done this the last 3 years, but they're going to a tournament in Las Vegas over the Christmas break, so they will not be missing any school. And then finally, the early graduation applications, we had one at the Highland High School, and it was in order to get out there in the workforce and save money for college.
Wow,
I know.
only one.
Only one right now. We
Right now.
typically have a lot more after the second trimester. In the middle of the trimester, we typically don't have as many. We could hire a few of them. Bus drivers. All right, any questions
I just have a general question about these out-of-state trips.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I shouldn't ask, because
maybe if you
watching.
wanna, you could
But I
just
guess
catch Tanya
yeah,
if
I mean,
you'd
I
like.
guess the question is that, I mean, these
Later.
tend to be mandatory for the team members. If they want to be on the team, they have to go on these trips. And so with this trip being during family vacation time, I mean, that's,
They do they have a parent meeting prior to the season and talk about all the different activities they're going to, each sport. And so at that meeting, they do, express their concerns, and we always revisit it every year.
Yeah.
And I have more that want to be a part of that and experience that and really appreciate the support with that than I ever have with them not being part of that. But that definitely is a consideration every time.
Okay.
Because you're right.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Portneuf Medical Center donation agreement will be rolled into the June board meeting. The next on the agenda, business operations, which will be presented by Jonathan Ball. So we will start with the following: Idaho School District Education Transportation Spot Inspection Final Report, the notice of federal interest, capital improvement program, supplemental levy information, and proposed resolution, and Infinite Campus.
Yep, he's covering for Mr. Smart tonight.
Okay.
He's excused.
Yep, I do have that as well. Okay, I'll start up here and then we'll end up down there at the table. Just first thing, a couple quick things to start with. One is by way of information. In your packet is the audit report. It's our biannual transportation audit report. Big thanks and congratulations go out to Kelly, Jeff, and Sam, and the entire staff, mechanics, and bus drivers as well, that spent a good 3 or 4 days with our regional inspector. Again, you can see there someone added that over 2,700 items around buses, files, etc., were reviewed during these few days. Again, you can see some of the good things at the beginning, and then some of the items that we looked at. Again, even though he noted something, well, it was 1% of, for example, on some of these exceptions that as he did the rider evaluation, for example, and so 99% efficiency there. So I count that as really good as well. So again, unless there's any questions with that, that'll just kind of for your information. Again, everything was went really well there.
So I don't know who the bus driver is that comes down Johnny Creek, but they are so courteous to us drivers on Johnny Creek.
Okay.
They pull over and don't make us wait for, so anyway, kudos to that boost.
Okay.
It's very, I'm so impressed by that because,
Sure, sure.
I'm certain that's not something they have to do, but
Well, and we do have a
it's
great,
a
great,
reflection.
great crew of bus drivers, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that's, and thank you for saying that and appreciating that.
Yes,
And I know that we have all of our bus drivers,
Yeah,
are
very
that,
courteous
so
to the community.
That's
so
great.
I
Thank you
appreciate that.
for that feedback. Again, just by way of information on that regard. The second item is for action, that you just have to act that you've received this notice of federal interest. This is regarding the Head Start modulars that were built and purchased and installed using federal dollars. And almost every sentence in here is one of the requirements that has to be in this notice of federal interest. It has to be posted, even there with my signature. And so this is a requirement of any building bought by federal dollars, and this is specifically the requirements for Head Start. And so that'll be, once approved, it'll be posted inside of those modulars over at the Lincoln Education Center. So that's way of action.
Mr. Miles, we just comment very quickly on PV Tech.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And yes, so we will, in the coming months, bring one. It'll be a smaller version of this, as I believe this is where you were wanting me to go, that we realize that we purchased in part our PV Tech building, Port Nepheli Technical Education building, with federal dollars. And so their requirements for a non-Head Start federally funded building is a little bit smaller, but this same type of language paragraph will also be in our PV Tech building. So that's, again, a federal requirement. And you can read through there, you can kind of see why they want that language there. Okay. Now on to our capital improvement program presentation. Again, by way of, well, we'll get there. The first slide, and I'll briefly go through those. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Again, the committee members that make up the capital improvement program, many directors, including 2 board members, coordinators and supervisors that help oversee this program. The second slide is regarding, again, the timeline. I will note that even in that first timeline, the outdoor facility committee met, and again, we had representation from the board on that committee, and those recommendations fed into our capital improvement committee that rolled into here. Again, you can kind of see the timeline that we almost start 12 months in advance to spend these dollars and to keep our facilities in tip-top shape there. The next slide represents the revenues. The majority of the revenue, as you can see from this slide and the next slide, the pie chart there, is from our local taxpayer dollars, which we definitely appreciate our taxpayers being able and giving us the funds to keep our school facilities up to date and nice looking and so forth. Some money from the state lottery, bus depreciation, as buses are part of this capital improvement plan. And then, of course, the estimated how much, what our balance will be as of, the start of this cycle, which will be July 1st, 2023. Okay. After the pie chart there, again, now we're getting some expenditures of how we spend this. Again, we take a proactive approach to maintenance, and so we have many replacement schedules that our maintenance staff, again, we appreciate the great maintenance staff that go and check every element of our building, our facilities and so forth, and that come up with those replacement schedules if they need to be done. Also, some equipment and furniture from the directors, from the schools, and so forth are on that page. The next page is, again, it's our summary of SIP upgrades. This is the replacement schedule I referred to. Anything from going from asphalt down to windows. You can see the changes from last year to this year and see what is funded through our capital improvement. And for this year, we are taking our HVAC and heating and air conditioning out of our ESSER funds, using some of those funds, and some of the needs of the kitchen will be provided by our school lunch program. So you can kind of see the differences there.
Do you see,
Yeah, sure.
Do you see, you know, we have to use the ESSER by next year?
Correct.
Do you see
September of
kind of,
24.
Ideas of how, kind of foresee how that could be used, just so that, you know.
Yes, and so I'll recall to your memory, it was earlier in the fall.
I think we were presented that in August.
Was it August? Okay.
believe
I was
so.
thinking early.
Oh,
That's where I was
yeah,
going,
I
early
do
fall.
But we can bring it back around
that's
just as an
okay.
update, usually February, I think about mid-year adjustments.
Correct.
We'll bring it
Yeah.
back to you.
We'll bring it back, and,
Okay, yeah.
because again, that's a fluid document as we,
Oh, and on the website.
and on the website.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
no, that's great, great question. Again, we have almost about 20 months to spend that money, so. Again, you can see on this next, the line chart kind of shows how these replacement schedules go up and down, just as things come due or that need to be replaced. You can kind of see, obviously, there's an upward trajectory just as costs have increased over the years going back, 20 years there. Okay. The next sheet, starting major SIP projects identified. The first one is, again, almost a reserve account for some future projects. That one's held right at, estimated to be right at $5 million. And then we'll review kind of there's some small maintenance, and then the SIP committee reviewed interior and exterior needs of all the buildings, and then major projects. And you can see there's roughly about $500,000 remaining that will be used to help cover any unforeseen expenses or any budget variances, as again, these are just budget numbers, and we will get actual numbers as we go out to bid. Any leftover money obviously goes into it'll go into that future projects reserve there to be saved there for later. Again, future projects, I have a slide just dedicated to that. Again, these are monies set aside from our plant facility levy to help fund future building and renovation projects as directed by yourselves. I wanted to spend a little bit of time again on some of our major projects that are happening. That's almost a third of the last slide there. Again, you can read through there, focusing on both secondary and elementary schools, and both athletics and even some educational needs is there as well. Starting from, again, the Century team room, concession room, bathroom at their football field, turf field for all the activities there at Highland. Looking into some upgraded security cameras, alarm systems, physical access for that.
Can I ask you about Highlands?
Sure, of course.
So Pokey's has their logo on it,
Correct.
but Highlands isn't their field, so will it have their logo, or would it be?
Are you talking about Lookout Credit Union? Or what do you?
No, the Highland Turf.
Yes, okay.
Because that's a district field, right? So would it, Pokey's got their logo, I'm assuming Century, so would that have like the ram on it?
So,
or would
yes, we anticipate, obviously, we haven't started any drawings, but yes, we would anticipate
Okay, just
that
curious.
the Highland Ram would be
Yeah, just
right there in the middle, absolutely. Yep. Was the track, sure.
Oh,
Now that it's turned into football programs being there, full-time varsity and so forth, yes.
so the actual field is,
We're planning on.
I see. I see. Just curious.
No, that's a good,
I just thought, gosh, it's a district thing, so I wonder if.
yeah, no, it
Okay.
definitely would be Highlands there. Again, as I created this list, I didn't maybe know the name, I should have put the PV Tech building configuration. But again, the CT building will have some money out of ESSER to help configure that building to maximize the space for our learners and staff there. Again, a new metal roof for Ellis, only 14 feet bus garage expansion in the back here to help so we can pull a large bus in and open the hood and still be able to close the door on these cold winter days.
They'll be pretty happy.
Yes, yep, I'm excited for that one. We're doing some things at the Highland parking, and we'll review that. Yeah, we'll do that in phases, but I have a drawing in the next slide. Again, in the back here, some new freezers and coolers for food service, some larger freezers that they could be able to handle. The current freezers were donated several, even decades ago, and so it's time to upgrade those. And then, as we've talked, we will put a parking lot there at our Downard property across from Pocatello High School.
Still January, February?
So we are still planning on demolishing the building spring break is our goal, and then this would actually happen over the summer. Okay. I just wanted to clarify a little bit. The next slide is there's a lot of changes to the parking lot up at Highland High School. The ones in red.
Proposed changes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. This is all proposed. This is for your action items. Yes, proposed changes are there in red. And so starting at the top of the sheet, which would be, if I got my directions, north, I believe. Again, we would redo some painting lines there to make, in the current staff parking lot, to have that be more of a parent drop-off with some staff parking behind the building there, and excavating some of that dirt that already will be disturbed in finishing the Highland baseball field. Then we'll have the majority of the cost is in the front of the building there on the south side, that will kind of put some of the parking up closer to the building and expand that parking. And then in the main parking lot, we would essentially create another entrance, and then through some barricades, and that's where circling those green items with some barricades to help funnel in a line for the student traffic. And that's, again, this was all through engineering and even the engineering traffic study that said that this was a more safe option. I would point out that the existing entrance and exit would be gated, so it could be used as an exit. And then, yes, I think and then we have discussed with the city some of the options there on Bench Road as well. And so we're looking at them that, and they said they'd be up to, for discussion, possibly putting a gate there rather than that permanent block. But we'll have to go through the process to see if that can actually happen. So again, for emergency purposes, exactly to be able to get down Bench. So again, that's phase one. That's what we have right now. We've dedicated, that $500,000 to do that, and we feel fairly confident we can be able to do that. But that's kind of what we do. And then, of course, the year after that, would continue to look at that into phase two of this project.
So, Mr. Balls, just
Yes.
to point out, potentially phase 2 or 3, whichever one it is, we have that parking lot drawn in is going right to the edge of E-building, but we know through SIP that maybe some future needs, talked about a potential expansion there one day.
Correct.
And so this drawing could get reconfigured as we go through that process.
Yes, yeah.
What, is this the auditorium here?
Yeah, the white.
The big white?
Yes,
The big- correct.
So Mr. Wallace had mentioned that, I think,
Yep,
and we
yep.
had a couple board members on that committee, and just as we follow up. So as people were looking at this, at
Thank you.
home, or,
Perfect.
we're streaming and so forth, maybe just we'll make mention of that, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's some other features up in the northwest corner. There's another a driveway going through the property. Again, we don't know for sure if that's what we will do. It's what was presented as an option, but we'll kind of evaluate that at this same time next year, and we'll come back to you and say, okay, these are some other, we'll get with the Highland administration and look to see what would be
What does it
most
say?
beneficial.
It prevent student drop-off? Or what is the text on that
Parent.
driveway?
It's actually parent.
Parent.
That's what the engineer thought, that would be a good place there. And we thought, well, let's, actually suggesting from board member that maybe let's try this north parking lot as a parent drop-off.
Because where do the buses go right now? Because I
So-
know that was one of the issues.
Yep, yes, and that's correct. Right now, the buses line Fairview? Is that
Fairway.
Fairway?
Fairway.
Yeah.
Yep, they line Fairway.
They
And
don't
it's,
go past the tennis courts. You see those tennis courts?
Yeah.
They're, what's the?
So they just
north, south,
fill up
west of-
along.
along the street.
Yeah, definitely west of the tennis court.
Gotcha.
There's,
Around that parking lot would be like a
yeah.
student, be able to funnel the students along the building, along the tennis courts to go to
Mhm.
the bus instead of diagonally through the parking lot.
Sure.
Gotcha.
So, and yes, you're absolutely right, and there are some thoughts on that, but it involves the tennis courts, so we need to make sure everything is has its place there. But and if you'd like to see a bigger drawing, of course, I have several in my office. So,
And then we talked about this before, but I just had suggested
yeah,
since we are already doing that parking lot in front of Highland, to just continue on and tear out that circular and make it so like you could come in and either go into that parking lot or go the circular to have the drop off for visitor, student check-in, parent check-in,
Yeah.
and then go out.
and as we.
I just suggested.
Yes, and I do appreciate that. As we talked earlier, we'll just have to kind of look at the cost and then even run that by our engineer to see if that'll, meet see if there's enough space there, both parking and kind of the drop-off there. So, but that would be, we'll just kind of maybe do that as a bid alternate, but that's,
It'd be nice just for aesthetic to have like old parking lot and then all of a sudden new.
Sure,
And
sure.
it's
And that's-
Kind of wonky a little.
you're right. And we
I'm all about,
and that you do, and
if it
that's
doesn't look
great.
good, then
That's
Yeah,
right.
and the final, our goal is obviously the final look will have all the aesthetics and look nice. It's just during the phases, it might be a little bit chopped up, but we appreciate everybody's patience in all of our construction projects as we are still going through those.
And we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, sure. And again, the last slide almost could be the first slide. Again, special thanks to all of our patrons, our taxpayers of our Pocatello Chubbuck School District for the continued support of the plant facility levy. I think we have I know we have some of the best facilities in the state, and so that's, it's in due part to being able to have the funds to be able to replace things before they break, before they wear out, and have things look beautiful and nice. So I will stand for, this is a big lift. Again, I'll remind you that we'll bring all these bids back to you as we bid out these major projects and look for them as well. But any thoughts, any questions on this? Okay. I'm going to only go down here because I'm going to be joined by Miss Fisher. Okay, we're now going to talk about another type of levy. This is our biannual, so every 2 years, we will come to you and ask and have you help decide on a supplemental levy. We have met as a district administration under Superintendent Howell and met in cabinet to talk about a levy amount. Is by way of historical information, it's been close to 6 years that we've asked every year of our taxpayers in the amount of $9.25 million. And so we kind of started there in historical purposes and kind of went back and forth of what are the needs of the district. And you have several documents there. I will first identify again our timeline. So this is again starting today where we'd ask the board to adopt a resolution having a supplemental levy amount, because we have to get the wording to the county officials in January. And this is all for a March 14th election. And so, as our recommendation to the board, we felt that asking less, about $1 million less per year, but settling on $8.25 million, so $8,250,000 to ask our patrons for a 2-year, so that's each year $8,250,000. And so that's how this resolution was written. Again, this year that's new is, you'll notice the bottom of the first page on that resolution, we have to state our purpose and approximate dollar amount spent on that. And so these are some of the key purposes, from salaries of our day-to-day operations. There's some special education funding, technology, and even transportation. I wanted to kind of show you a basis of where we came up with that, and that's, we included a report called the Fiscal Year 22 Foundation and Special Distribution Report, and that's the one with some yellow column. This is an annual report that we have to give back to the state that actually gets given to the legislature, and it shows the amount received from the state, and this is actually the amount that we expended. And then it, of course, calculates the difference. And so you can see there the amount that has to come from supplemental levies and so forth, and that amount was $10.5 million. And so I will clarify on this report, this covers all funds. The majority of it is the 100 fund, but as you get some down into these bottom special distributions, that uses up some other funds. And so that's how this is kind of how we got some of those major categories. And of course, we knew this as salaries and benefits are the majority of our expenses. And so I think I have, that's it. I'll turn it over to Ms. Fisher for kind of to explain some communication, and that will provide some more information regarding this.
Okay, so in your addendum, you have a draft of the supplemental levy facts and information sheet. This is an evolution from previous years, focusing on that renewal. And one of our chief challenges during this process is to communicate to our public, our voting public, in a transparent and open manner about what this levy means for them. So it has a lot of definitions. We are required by Idaho law to avoid electioneering or using promotional language in any way. So that is a challenge with a piece like this. Once this draft is approved, it will be designed in a really easy to read format. And I can share that with you in January, but we wanted to get this draft approved before we moved into that next phase. So again, it just goes over that in that first section. Your addendum includes the most updated version. Like I said, it's a draft, so it will be updated over and over, and we always put on the second page the date of the last update. The sections that were changed are highlighted for you in yellow versus what was previously originally uploaded to your addenda or the board packet last week. So first, in that first section is what is the supplemental levy? And that just defines that. It also communicates what approximate percentage of the school district's budget that levy funds. And then just some demographic information about serving our 12,000 learners who live in the boundaries of the Pocatello Chubbuck School District. So not all of Bannock County gets to vote on this. It's only those people that live within School District 25 boundaries. Again, another change this year will be defining that ballot language. We want to make sure that we include the ballot language so that it's easily transferable what people see on our information sheet to what they see on the ballot and how those activities, that purpose, and the cost is defined. So that will be that next section that includes those dollar amounts. That's new this year. We've never included that those dollar amounts before. Local support for local learners. We talked about how we think it's important for our community to know that levy makes up the difference between state and federal funding and our local needs. And it's also important for our community to know that we're not alone in this endeavor. In fact, nearly 80% of Idaho school districts rely on supplemental levies to fund their local operations. That next section is really just demographic information, just statistical information, so that people who are new to our community get a sense of what School District 25 is in the most basic sense. So I'll just let you look over those. That data has all been updated from the last time we ran this in 2021. On the second page is the proposed levy. And it just specifically states that if passed, the supplemental levy will provide $8.25 million, which you will be taking action on tonight for 2 years. And then we really wanted to communicate that that's a decrease from that $9.25 million that was steady for 6 years. And this represents a $2 million cost savings to our taxpayers over those 2 years, so $1 million a year. The levy funding is a fixed amount. It's really kind of confusing for people because not all tax basis is funded that way. So we want to make sure that people know that no matter what our local tax value is, our funding is fixed, whether those amounts increase or decrease in property values in Bannock County. And then what people really want to turn to most, so we really highlight this in the design, is how will the levy impact me? And so we have a chart that shows from 2019 to 2024 how that levy rate has decreased, which means that the amount overall annually or monthly has decreased to our local taxpayers. So what we will be asking in 2024 is that $113.07. It's important to note that that figure is based on a $100,000 homeowner's exemption, and it'll be $9.42 a month for those with people for a $100,000 taxable value of their home.
Okay, so the first 100,000 is exempt, and then, so that would be the net 100,000.
Yes, correct.
So that'd be 200,000.
Yes. And then based on these are all calculations based on estimations based on current calculations. That's really important for people to understand that figure can change. But this is demonstrated that it has been consistently decreased in monthly contributions since fiscal year 2019, and really since 2017, but we didn't want our list to get too long, so we narrowed it down to 2019. And then supplementary levy facts. This is not a new tax. It's really important for people to understand that. It's a levy that has been renewable for more than 60 years in our community. All of these funds stay local, and it just asks for additional property taxes to support the operation of local schools. And it requires a simple majority to pass. And then it has the election information. Tuesday, March 14th is election day. It's a simple yes or no question to renew. Poll location, and then we have early voting, which I've confirmed with Bannock County Elections Office, will just run for 2 weeks. So it will begin Monday, February 27th, and end on Friday, March 10th.
What other, I mean, this is a lot to read. I mean, I think it's a lot of great information. I don't, I wonder how many will read. Will you do snippets? Are you allowed to do like Facebook,
Yes.
single fact?
Yep. And I'll go over
Leading
all
up
of the
through that.
timeline and the communication plan with you in January.
Okay.
But we typically do many community presentations, local Rotary clubs.
Okay.
All of our school district staff meetings we will go to, and we do 10-minute presentations, and we hand out the information. We do a levy video. So I'll go over all of those
Okay,
activities
great.
with you. It's a long list, and I'll share the dates. We usually begin that communication phase at the end of January, right up until Election Day. And we always do, a lot of it is a get out the vote, because, we can be promotional or electioneer at all. And we always try to communicate a get out the vote message for any election. We just did on the last general election. We want our community members to be engaged voters because we think it's important. So we follow the same pattern with our own elections as well.
Great, thank you.
I have a question. If it doesn't pass, just for the sake of, to see what it looks like and how it affects us, what do you see as going, like, coming back? Because it's salaries and benefits, those are that's a list. So where would it,
So, I mean, that's.
how would we pay for that?
You bet. And again, as Ms. Fisher mentioned, again, this 11%. So just think of, okay, if this doesn't pass, and we do have another opportunity to try to pass it again, or with a different amount and so forth. Again, we're going worst case scenario here, but again, it would be to cut 11% of the budget. It'd be very painful, and very difficult to do. And
There's not a specific area or anything that would,
So it would be paring back a little bit for like a May, August, November. You don't want to go, hopefully, into November. So we would come back to the board with, perhaps a different recommendation. Yeah. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
The good news on that is that this levy has been in place for a very long time, and I believe it's the school plant facility levy that we had to run one other time, or was it the supplemental levy?
I think it was a supplemental.
We did run the school plant not too long ago.
We ran both
Yeah.
of them twice, but it's very rare, and so hopefully we do a good enough job communicating the need to our public, and our community has been very, very supportive with this
They have.
supplemental levy, as well as the school plant facility levy.
so I actually have some of the data, the data there. Again, it's been up to, we've had approvals up in the 70s. And last time it was, 62, almost 63% voted yes.
30% over.
And yeah, we needed just a 50% plus one, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I was going to share that in January, and
Oh.
so even better.
Share
Ahead of the
yeah.
game.
It's never too
Oh,
early to
right.
share that data.
That's
so,
always good.
yeah, but we always look at those benchmarks and see where we need to be and where we've been.
Yeah.
And it has gone down, so we're very cognizant of that and try to get out in front of as many people as possible, whether it's in person or social media, website, video, asking people to share, all of that.
And so our ESSER money will be done by the time this is in place, right? Because we will have had to use, I guess we'll have a little bit more time.
We'll have a little bit more.
Okay.
We
So
will have
fine,
one
so-
year of overlapping,
Okay.
correct.
Will you ask us again to go out with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've already started the presentation schedule. I think we've got
Okay.
upwards of 15 scheduled already. So after the holidays, we wanted to get a head start on that before we went on break. I will share that calendar with you
And what
and
is this?
invite you to attend.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
invite you to attend community presentations, school presentations. You can present the information or just be there to support and learn and meet some more of our staff and interact. But it's a great endeavor. And it's something I enjoy very much, going out and sharing that information.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Superintendent Smart, excuse me.
You just promoted him. I'm
Superintendent,
telling tomorrow.
forgive me. I combined
Doug.
two men here. Superintendent
retired.
Howell
Yeah, Carl,
had
taking over.
excused Mr. Smart this evening, and so I briefly have just three, he's prepared, just briefly. Again, from technology desk, so IC submission. Again, December is being processed. They just have a few errors to fix, but that will be submitted on time before Friday. Again, they are with the successful passing of our SIP plan. Technology is kind of looking forward to working on security cameras, on upgrading those. And so that's kind of on their to-do list. And then also, with our PV Tech building, Kevin and his crew are working on getting us internet access into that building, because it's a different type of internet, and there were some things, they just cleaned everything with, and everything was out of there. And so, anyway, working with USAC, which provides some E-rate reimbursement, so we can get some of this paid for with the federal government, like we do other schools for internet.
Maybe an update there, Mr. Balls. John, see now you've got all the Kevin Chatfield, our technology coordinator, stopped by this afternoon, and he said that they were able to get the boilers running today, and they have a wire that's basically internet, and I guess it's strewn clear across the whole building, but they have that one
At least they
already online.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
so we're moving the right direction.
Yeah. Okay. That was
Just
everything.
along those lines, do you think we would want to at some point meet there to like look at the design and once it gets a little further of how, what Rhonda feels like the needs are, what the architect feels?
So for, I wrote it down for a January work session, so we could just provide you a CTE update, and we could talk about the architect walkthrough, selection process, where we're at, the programs that are in there. I don't know that we'll have any drawings or anything to show the board at that point, because it'll just be early in the stages, but we can definitely give you an idea of what the plans would be.
Kind of the needs and stuff.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, that's all I had.
thank you, Jonathan, appreciate it. Okay, Human Resources, we've rolled into January board meeting, and next on the agenda is Superintendent Report, and by Doug Howe.
Okay, I don't know that the board calendar got attached here, so I have a hard copy I'll share with you. But tomorrow, student discipline hearings, 3:30. We have 2, so maybe an hour tad over that. And I don't know if we have confirmation from Mrs. Oliver for tomorrow, but.
Angie, are you available for the student discipline hearings tomorrow?
She may be on mute. We may have lost her. I don't know. Ms. Clark did.
Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, by phone or, yeah. Ms. Clark said she could be available at least for the first one if we need her. Yeah, yep. But she has an appointment. So, good. Okay, and then winter break starts next Monday, lasts for a couple weeks, and then we'll be back on Tuesday, January 3rd. We'll have board school visits planned for you on that day for those that can make it, or make accommodations for another time and date for those that can't make that January 3rd date. And then January 10th, Community Prevention Committee meeting, and also board work session on the 10th. January 16th is Martin Luther King Day, and so we will be out of school. Recognizing that holiday, and then the 17th takes us out to our next board meeting, and then the end of January on the 24th we'll resume key communicators. And so, and then by February we'll be talking Day on the Hill and the Boise trip, and talking with legislators and getting updates. And we had a great meeting with our legislative delegation last week, and so we were able to share some successes and some concerns and needs And so we'll look forward to meeting more with them during the session. And that's it for me tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda is public and written comment pertinent to the agenda action items. And no written comment was received, and we have no request for public comment. Right? Okay, so we'll move into action items. First on the agenda, first item of business is to adopt the textbook adoption committee member selection protocol. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the textbook adoption committee member selection protocol as presented.
Is there
We'll put as many words into that as we possibly can, with lots of syllables, too.
Yes, there
I
is.
did that without a mistake. Pretty good.
You did really good, too. You did better than I did. Anyway, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the business is to adopt the 23-24 school district calendar. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the school district calendar for 2023-24 school year.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed. The next item of business is to hear second reading on adoption policy 6104, extended learning opportunities. Is there a motion?
Hereby move that the board hear policy 6104, which is the extended learning opportunities on second reading for adoption as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on item of business is to approve the out-of-state overnight travel request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board approve the out-of-state overnight travel request as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the item of business is to approve the early graduation request. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the early graduation request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. The next item of business is notice of federal interest, Lincoln Head Start modular. Is there a motion?
Hereby move that the board approve the notice of federal interest for the Lincoln Head Start modulars as presented.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Just a point of clarification, can I interject here? So on that Portneuf agreement, you're rolling it into June because that's when the end of the contract? is?
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so did you get all of your votes?
Angie, was that affirmative on the notice of federal interest? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, any opposed? I guess not. That motion passed. Next business is to approve the capital improvement program for the projects of 2023, 2024. Is there a motion?
Your turn.
I hereby move that the board approve the capital improvement program, SIP projects planned for 23-24 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I guess not. That motion passed. The final item is to adopt the supplemental levy resolution. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the supplemental levy resolution as read into the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Guess not. Motion passed. That concludes this meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion passed. We are adjourned.